Throughout our nation's history, our Army has adapted to changing conditions, turning ideas into reality, putting imagination to work by developing advancements in technology, and empowering the American soldier with the best training and equipment to fight and defeat our adversaries.
I believe that what we need are self-aware, adaptive leaders, and we need self-aware, adaptive soldiers. We're up against evolving threats. We have adaptive foes. We're not going to be able to just set one game plan in motion and never deviate from it. I mean, we have to have a living, thinking, breathing, dynamic, adaptable organization from top to bottom.
You know, it's interesting right now how quickly the operational Army has adapted to the threat on the battlefield. What we've got to have is we've got to have soldiers and leaders within the institutional Army also to be able to make those cultural changes just as quickly.
While fighting the global war on terror, the operational Army is constantly adapting to battlefield conditions, while soldiers employ innovative solutions to complex challenges. Tactics, techniques, and procedures are adjusted expeditiously in response to enemy actions. We should adapt institutionally as quickly as we do on the battlefield.
It's a change in mindset. It's a change of how we as leaders look at how we do business every day. It's being able to step back away from the current processes, the legacy systems that we've got in place, and looking for innovative, creative ways to do business for the future.
The institutional Army is at a watershed moment. The challenges we face in this time of war, combined with the acceleration and pace of technological advancements, offer us the opportunity to make significant strides in changing our culture. Acting now will facilitate change in key areas that impede the movement to a culture of innovation. The idea of changing can be threatening and counterintuitive. Today, we are the world's best Army, and yet to stay that way, we must change.
What we have to do is constantly seek and challenge the status quo and to move into areas of innovation which create these areas of discomfort. And as we become comfortable in those areas and do it, we have to strike out again.
Changing behaviors will help the institutional Army change to a culture of innovation.
Institutional Army is like a football franchise. It's the coaching staff, the front office, the schedulers, and all of the things that enable a game to take place. Our operational Army is what plays on the field. Our doctrine is what you do in the huddle. You have a game plan that the head coaches and the assistant coaches put together, and you move to the field with a doctrinal construct that you share in the huddle. You get to the line of scrimmage and you see the opposing team adjusting your defenses. You then go to audibles and you innovate, you adapt, and then the ball's snapped and everything changes, and now you rely on the skill and innovation of the individual athletes to act as a team and to take advantage of opportunities that now arise that you never thought of before.
Accelerated institutional change is vital. In some cases, change has begun, and quickly. In April 1998, the GoArmy.com website went online. In about 1 year, emails to the site increased from 20 to 50 per day to between 1 and 200 a day. Recognizing a need, the recruiting operations staff searched their in-house capabilities and found software to establish a real-time recruiting chat room.
We've gone from 2 hours of chat per day, every other day, to 100 hours of chat per week, 61 in English, and 39 and a half hours in Spanish.
Information is customized to each visitor's needs. The anonymous nature of the chat builds trust. Contacts feel free to ask questions they might not raise in a face-to-face interview.
The new age is to go into a chat room under an assumed name, find out all the information they want, and then go to see a recruiter with all the information that they've found on the subject that they're looking at.
It also helps the online recruiters to pre-screen applicants.
Cyber recruiting has the highest conversion rate in all of recruiting. So that means we are actually sending a lot of leads out to the field that weren't getting out to the field. These people were being passed over, looked over, and Some of the people were probably interested, just afraid to approach that recruiter.
The Army chat room is an example of learning organization behavior. The organization learned how to use a tool it already had in a new way. Another example in the institutional Army of the change to a culture of innovation is the Rapid Equipping Force. Shortly after the beginning of Operation Enduring Freedom, it was noted that there had to be a better, less risky way to clear caves than sending soldiers in to do the job. In May 2002, personnel were tasked to find a solution. They were aware of a small tracked robot, the PackBot, under development. They recognized that with some minor modifications, the addition of cameras and sensors to the PackBot might be the answer. 1 month later, the PackBot was in Afghanistan. 4 weeks later, it had helped clear 30 caves and buildings. Today, PackBot units are at work in Afghanistan and Iraq. Its success contributed to the establishment of the Rapid Equipping Force. The REF mission is to rapidly increase mission capabilities while reducing risk to soldiers and others.
So we've got to have an institutional Army that adapts, can get the products out there to help young leaders be able to transition just as quickly as those leaders and those soldiers right now currently in the operational Army that are engaged in combat.
Good ideas often start at the small unit level. Captains Nate Allen and Tony Burgess commanded companies in separate divisions. Along with some other friends, they decided to launch a website, companycommand.com, where commanders, or those soon to command, could gather to air their problems and share solutions.
We envision every company commander in the Army in an ongoing conversation about leading and building combat-ready teams and sharing what they're learning, and at the same time generating professional knowledge.
It's not a new idea if you think about it. You know, company commanders and platoon leaders for umpteen years have been gathering in mess halls around Humvee hoods across the Army and talking about their craft, their trade, their profession. This is what professionals do. What we're doing, what the web is creating is the possibilities for this to happen on a scale that's unprecedented.
Today, the site has more than 7,000 members and has spun off 2 additional sites, one for platoon leaders and one for Army families.
Company commanders are tapping into this resource to better themselves professionally. It's a continual process, so every time someone is touched by some advice or some knowledge, they realize that this is very powerful and that they can pick up the ball and they can continue running and sharing this real-time information with the Army on their experiences.
You're also going to get links to topics such as training, warfighting, military professional reading, and a host of other things that impacts company commanders. In the upper right-hand side, you'll find the company command quiz. And this quiz is unique is that you get immediate feedback on what your peers across the Army are thinking on a particular topic. The topic may range from warfighting, from tactics, to ethics, to any number of situations that may confront a company commander at any given time.
Originally, the website was set up as a non-profit with no direct connection to the Army. As it grew, the founders realized it was becoming a full-time endeavor and convinced the Army to become the hosting agency. The site, however, is still run by members.
Even though we stood it up, it was always the Army's. When you look at it from the perspective that the Army is the people, the professionals that make up the Army, it was always the Army's forum.
One of the most important assets that the Army has is the experience and knowledge of leaders at the tip of the spear. One way to leverage that is to connect them in conversation. If you're a company commander, past, present, or future, by default, you're a member of the Company Command Professional Forum. This is your professional forum. We invite you to join the conversation.
These examples show that it is possible to incubate a culture of innovation in the institutional Army by changing behaviors.
We can never rest. We need to continually strive to improve our position, to find better ways to do things. I think you see this every day, where every day soldiers are innovating and adapting to the realities that they find, and they're creating tactics, techniques, procedures, and doctrinal constructs that we feed back in through the institutional system and institutionalize and put back out through the schoolhouse and through the training base and incorporate.
we must all take the initiative to unleash the creativity exemplified by these examples. There are a wide range of behaviors that you can change. Ask colleagues to join you in a collaborative group that critiques each other's work, offers ideas to help with tasks, suggests solutions that you may not have envisioned yourself. After-action reviews are not just for tactical situations.
Many of the trainers out there right now at the mode sites, as well as the CTCs, are combat veterans who have been there in combat and understand the innovative process and as well as the lessons learned, and have incorporated that into the institution.
The threat we face today compels us to change. A culture of innovation will allow all of us to contribute our best to the fight. A culture of innovation will release the potential inherent in the institutional Army for achieving success.